How much pressure do you feel?
There's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. I've been getting pressure since I was 10 years old. I don't think there's no pressure for me because I'm doing something that I love to do. And that's play the game of basketball. I'm doing the same thing that y'all love to do, and that's y'all like to watch me play basketball. I'm gonna be around for, hopefully the average 10 to 15 years, but I'm gonna just try to do the best I can.
With the first pick in the 2003 NBA draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select LeBron James.
19, living on assistance.
I'm sure by now everyone on this planet knows who this guy is. Here's
LeBron James,
the player who will reshape and dominate the NBA over the next 20 years. LeBron was in the spotlight ever since he was 16, as he was seen as the next generational talent in the NBA, the next Michael Jordan, the next Magic as Stevie Johnson. The amount of pressure and expectations placed on him were enormous, but not only did he not fold, he exceeded every single one of them. 4 NBA titles, 4-time Finals MVPs, 19 All-Star appearances, an assist title, the most points scored in NBA history, and a net worth of $1 billion. If I have to list all his accolades, this video will be an hour long. With a career like his, it was inevitable that the media would eventually turn their attention to the next rising star and label them as the next LeBron James. While LeBron lived up to those sky-high expectations and comparisons, many other top draft prospects crumble under the pressure. In this video, we're going to explore how some players thrive under the weight of their comparisons, and how others didn't. We're also going to see if the next LeBron James is potentially among us already. His first comparison wouldn't come until he won 2 titles in Miami and was on the verge of returning to Cleveland after turning his back against the city a few years earlier, with one of the most iconic and infamous decisions in NBA history.
And this fall, man, it's very tough. And this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Meanwhile, there's this one kid from Canada who was drawing a lot of attention from the media, and that is Andrew Wiggins, of course. He's 6'7", 200 pounds small forward with a 7-foot wingspan that is insanely athletic. Similar to LeBron, he was often compared to all-time greats like Jordan and Kobe ever since he was in high school. He was even given the name Maple Jordan because of his athletic prowess, and he's from Canada. However, the closest comparison was to LeBron, since he was described as an electric slasher and cut it through traffic, similar to how LeBron is considered the best slasher in the league. With all the hype surrounding him, he was selected first overall in the 2014 NBA draft. Coincidentally, Wiggins was also drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. But with LeBron returning to the team, the Cavs eventually traded Wiggins to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Kevin Love because he no longer fit the team's timeline and his presence overlapped with LeBron's. Even though he couldn't play alongside one of the greatest players of all time, Wiggins was placed on a team where he could develop. The Timberwolves weren't serious contenders, as they were still in a rebuilding stage and didn't have a star player who demanded the ball constantly, giving him the opportunity to grow. And so he did. He won the Rookie of the Year in 2015. Over the next 2 seasons, he continued to develop and improve his stats and efficiency. Despite the Timberwolves still being a shit team and near the bottom of the standings, the franchise believed Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns to be the cornerstones for the future and offered them massive contracts. After his breakout season in 2017, his development hit a wall. Instead of taking the next step, his stats actually dipped a bit. You can definitely attribute this to the arrival of another star player that same year, and Jimmy Butler. It became more and more clear that Wiggins wasn't quite the superstar caliber player that the fans thought he was, and the media started paying less and less attention to him. That was until he got traded to the Warriors in 2020. He was given another chance to prove himself playing alongside Steph Curry, arguably the greatest point guard in NBA history. Wiggins certainly didn't take it for granted, as he went on to become an all-star for the first time in his career just a few years later. He also played a crucial role in winning the championship against the Celtics that same year. Although things were looking good for him, he and his achievements were completely overshadowed by Curry. People only considered him a really good role player rather than the generational talent he was once perceived as, and the LeBron comparisons quickly faded away. The truth is, while Wiggins had similarities to LeBron in his play style, he was never really close to him in terms of greatness. The media only added unnecessary pressure by constantly comparing him to all-time greats. The next case here we have is the complete opposite. This guy had all the talent and the tools in the world, but fame and pressure from the media ruined his career. And that player is none other than Ben Simmons, a 6'10" point guard from Australia, who would commit to LSU after winning 3 high school national championships. His talent quickly drew attention from the fans and the media. He was an exceptional passer and playmaker, with the versatility to defend and play all 5 positions. He was an elite ball handler that utilized his size and athleticism really well. The only thing missing from his game was of course a consistent jump shot. Despite that, he still finished his freshman year in college averaging a double-double and was named the consensus All-American and SEC Rookie of the Year. After just 1 season at LSU, Simmons declared for the 2016 NBA Draft. By then, everyone was comparing him to LeBron and Magic Johnson, with some even claiming that he would overtake LeBron as the next face of the NBA.
I look at the NBA, which I've watched for 4 decades, and I say this now with Ben Simmons. Hey, LeBron, we're good, bro. You can go. You don't have to. You can hang around. Still great, but you can go.
Even LeBron himself told Simmons that you have an opportunity to be better than me, but you can't skip steps, you have to do the work. Naturally, he would be drafted first overall by the 76ers. Even though he suffered a foot injury during the Summer League, which caused him to not be able to play for the entire 16 and 17 season, the hype surrounding him didn't die down as he made his debut in the following season. With all eyes on him, Simmons did not disappoint as he went on to win the Rookie of the Year while nearly averaging a triple-double in his first year. He quickly established himself as one of the most unique players in the league. Similar to LeBron, his size, athleticism, and court vision made him a nightmare matchup for opponents. Along with his partner in crime Joel Embiid, the 76ers were looking like a really solid team moving forward. He continued to impress everybody, improving his stats and efficiency, and earning an All-Star selection in just his second season in the NBA. The 76ers finished 3rd in the Eastern Conference, winning over 50 games, and they were literally 1 shot away from advancing to the conference finals.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Even with all the progress Simmons had made, some fans were starting to worry about his inability to develop a reliable jump shot. He has struggled with this issue since his college days. He lacked confidence in his shot, so he pretty much just stopped taking them. It wouldn't be that big of a problem if he wasn't a point guard, because there are a lot of good power forwards and centers that barely have a jumper. But as a guard, not being able to shoot is going to affect your team way more. In this play, Simmons was bringing the ball down the court, and LeBron was just straight up disrespecting him by staying all the way back and daring him to shoot. This absolutely messed up the spacing on the floor, making it far more difficult for the shooters to get open looks. Ben Simmons had 2 more strong seasons with the 76ers and earned All-Star selections in both of them. However, fans and the media began to lose hope as it became more and more clear that he seemed to be more focused on fame and off-court distractions rather than improving his game. There were videos of him during the off-season oiled up, draining 3-pointers and hitting middies in the gym, but he never did any of that in an actual game. The gap between him and LeBron grew wider over time. By LeBron's 4th and 5th year, he had already led his team to the finals and was in the MVP conversation every year except his rookie season. But for Simmons, his career trajectory would take a major turn because of this one play.
Simmons, they cleared out for him. Tapping his way in. Spins on Gallinari. Gives it up. Oh, he was right there. And a foul.
He played horribly in the series against the Hawks during the 2021 playoffs. His stats plummeted drastically and his confidence declined as the series went on. The fans ridiculed him for missing a lot of free throws, and many saw him as the major reason they lost to the Hawks. After the series, the entire city of Philadelphia turned against him, including his own teammates and coach.
Doc, do you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now.
Simmons was already not a confident player, but this only made things worse for him, so he decided to request a trade. A few months later, he was traded to the Brooklyn Nets for James Harden. Since then, he has been a shadow of his former self, playing only a few games over the past 2 seasons. His stats hit an all-time low, and he still hasn't developed a jump shot. Simmons went from being seen as the next face of the league to someone who's literally on the verge of getting kicked out of the NBA, seemingly losing motivation to win or even play. Despite repeatedly promising to improve, he failed to deliver, making his career one of the biggest what-ifs in recent memory. While he's responsible for his own downfall, I feel like the media pressure and the overwhelming expectations placed on him when he was still a kid definitely affected his confidence. However, the next player here doesn't get nearly as much attention from the media. He's not as flashy as superstars like Anthony Edwards, Victor Wembanyama, or LaMelo Ball, but in my opinion, he's the closest we've seen to LeBron out of everyone mentioned in this video. And that player is Paolo Banchero, the 1st overall pick from the 2022 draft.
Empty side, too. Gives it open look. Fake. Try to pass. There you go.
guard that.
No, you can't stop that in there.
He's now 1 for 3.
Tough shot, and it goes.
He's easily one of the most gifted players in the NBA, standing at 6'10" to 250 pounds with great ball handling skills and a 41-inch vertical. Does that remind you of anyone? Yeah, it's actually Billy LeBron. Look at him standing next to Jason Tatum and Luka. No diddy, but this guy is massive. Unlike Wiggins and Simmons, Paolo didn't really get as much attention from the media when he was in high school and college, even though he had a really good season at Duke, averaging 17 points, 8 boards, and 3 assists. When he entered the NBA draft, he wasn't the clear number 1 pick, with most mock drafts and analysts predicting Jabari Smith at the top and him at 3rd. Paolo had a phenomenal first season in the NBA, earning the Rookie of the Year award. When you compare his rookie stats to LeBron's, they're strikingly similar. Paolo even joined LeBron as the only other player to post a game with 30 plus points and 15 plus rebounds before turning 20. When you look at his game, obviously he uses his strength and athleticism to score, and he's a versatile scorer who can hit fadeaway jumpers, but his core vision and playmaking are also very underrated aspects of his game. His ability to punish the defense by making skip passes is incredible. With his smaller defender CJ McCollum on him, Paolo knows that driving downhill will force help, leaving his teammates open, so he quickly fires a cross-court pass to Franz, who sinks the three-pointer. Downhill players like Paolo collapses the defense and draws a lot of attention on drives. Here, after switching onto a smaller defender, De'Aaron Fox, he slashes in, and the entire Kings defense are focusing on him, leaving multiple shooters open, and of course he makes the right play, kicking it out for an open 3. Offensively, this guy's already a problem, and he's only going to keep on getting better. However, defensively is where he definitely needs some improvements on. At times he can be a bit lazy on that end, and his lateral quickness is only average at best, which leaves him vulnerable to getting blown by off the dribble. But keep in mind he's only 21 years old, so there's still plenty of time for him to get better. Paolo's already shown growth in his second season, improving in nearly every stat. He's become an even better playmaker, averaging 5.4 assists per game. His 3-point and field goal percentages have significantly increased, and he also earned his first All-Star selection this year. These aren't just empty stats too, as he and Franz led the Magic to finish 5th in the East, winning 47 games this season. Even though the Magic fell short to the Cavs in the first round of the playoffs, Paolo showed that he's not a playoff choker, putting up really good numbers in some of the games. What sets Paolo apart and makes him the closest to LeBron compared to the other 2 players that I discussed earlier is his mentality. He just has that dog in him. Matter of fact, he proved to be quite clutch this season. Here's the leaders in clutch points with a game within 3 points and 24 seconds left. Paolo is ranked 3rd among all these veterans, and I think him not getting a lot of media coverage is actually good for him because it allows him to develop his game without constant scrutiny, giving him the space to grow into his potential without the pressure that a lot of these young stars face. I definitely expect him to make a pretty big leap this season and potentially become an MVP candidate. Anyways, that's all for today, guys. Do you think Paolo Banchero has what it takes to become the next LeBron James? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a like and sub, that would mean a lot to me. And also follow my Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I'll be posting some dumb shit there, so yeah, check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Stay goony.